Everyone, it is time for another Greenhouse Draft. This is always one of my favorite nights of the season. We're going to talk through the premiere. We're going to talk through the 14 contestants who are vying for the crown. And our drafters are going to bid on the players to try to recruit them onto their fantasy draft team. We don't do anything cute with points, it's winner take all. So these bitches tonight are trying to locate and figure out which of the 14 contestants is going to win the Greenhouse Season 7. Let's see how good they are at it. I'm going to introduce everyone slowly. I'll start with, I'm actually going to start with a pair of people who are joining us from the field. Hello to Abby and Zach, who are participating separately.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys. You'll recognize Zach as our runner-up in the Greenhouse Season 6. Sorry for spoilers. This is Season 7 after all. And you'll notice Abby, Abrielle, from Greenhouses 3 and 5. Famously, our 5th place icon, legend, queen, and star.
You know it.
How are y'all both doing tonight? Are y'all driving safely and defensively?
Yes, we are on the hunt for clues as to who the winner of this season is going to be.
Well, I can tell you're near one of the biggest clues there are. I won't say anything. Just look for the water towers. That's all I'll say. But anyway, these two divas are driving home from a red carpet event. They were helping do press for Greenhouse 7. I had them on local news in Louisiana. Our next few people, I'll pull up the next person who is on Good Morning America. Hi, Taylor. I gave her no warning that she's coming. You're still muted, diva.
It's all part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Get good at reading lips.
Okay, now that's a good skill for the greenhouse. Have you collected any clues going into tonight?
Oh, I know exactly who won, and they will be on my team.
Okay. We'll just have to see. A lot of confidence, but you've historically been pretty good at these, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Of course. Okay, next up, I'm going to bring in another veteran of the draft. I don't remember how well you did. You could remind me. Hey, Maddie.
Damn.
Damn, didn't mean to be shady. Sorry, girl.
Whew. To remind you, I've won one of the drafts and came very close to winning the other one I participated
Well,
in.
that's fierce. That's fierce. Yeah, so you didn't even deserve the shade that I threw you. Now I'm gonna bring in the last contestant tonight. I'm introducing him last so he gets the least amount of screen time. Hi, Brody.
Yeah, don't want to be a bearer of bad news, but as Louis would say, I was kind of born for this. Everyone my whole life told me that I would be great at this. My high school yearbook told me that I was going to be the best at greenhouse drafts. So, yeah, let's go into battle.
Let's go into battle. I went to high school with Brody, and I can confirm that he got the superlative, the yearbook shout out, and they called him up at mass. We went to Catholic school. That's a throwback. Anyway, so tonight we are going to be doing an auction draft. So here's how it works. I'm going to randomly select one of the contestants to be the first person up for grabs. All of you have 30 seeds to spin throughout the night. Once you spin seeds, they're gone. Donezo. Whoever bids the highest on each player recruits that player to their team. The person who chooses the winner wins the draft and a spot on All Stars 2. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Whoever wins, each player will choose the next Greenhouse 7 contestant who is up for grabs. So there's some strategy. It's pretty cute. No one else does this that I know of. Or I did steal this from a podcast, but that doesn't matter. So yeah, any questions before we go?
Can we tie bids, or is it just next up?
Oh, good question. It's greenhouse auction rules, so only if it's all the seeds you have, and if it ties, I will go to a randomizer. Sorry. That's just the way it goes. Yeah. I have nothing else for y'all. If y'all have nothing else for me. Okay. Maddie, pick a number between 1 and 14.
Let's go with my lucky number 10.
Okay, lucky number 10. I'm going to pull up the graphic for tonight's draft. Prepare for beauty. If you're not watching the video, you definitely want to watch to see I canva'd out on this. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 10. So first up is Mackenzie. Shout out Mackenzie. I kind of did her dirty with this screen grab. That's part of what we do here. So Mackenzie is up for grabs. Do I hear anyone bidding to recruit Mackenzie?
I'll bid 1.
I'll bid 2.
I'll go 3.
Okay. 3 on Mackenzie. Going once. Going twice.
We'll do 4.
Okay, I hear we. It could be only one of you. Y'all are
I'll do 4. I'm sorry. Zach.
Not me.
Not the collusion.
Zach is doing 4. Going once. Going twice. Okay, I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Zach. You have recruited Mackenzie for 4 seeds. So I want to hear from you first. What about Mackenzie made you bid so high on her?
Well, I think her premiere wasn't the best out of everybody, but there's something in her as like a player that I really like, in that those starting conversations, she was never the loudest person. She was always kind of leaning in the back and just listening, which I think is a really important thing early on in Greenhouse, especially when something that can always happen is people start looking at the loudest people in the room. She also has a connection coming into the game with Connor, so I think there's a lot of makings there for a potential player that goes deep into the game.
Yeah, fierce. Good thoughts. So yeah, Mackenzie is coming in with a pre-existing connection. Her boyfriend Connor is in the cast. Birdie, you famously competed alongside your wife in Greenhouse All-Stars. So what do you think about the couple dynamic? And then talk about Mackenzie, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we get to Connor, a lot more of this will come out, but Mackenzie will outlast him all day long. She has way more skill with this group of people than I think Connor does. Connor looked like a lost puppy every instant he was on the camera in the premiere, and Mackenzie was popping in and out of conversations, throwing herself physically in the middle of the groups. And I think ultimately that could work well for her. I just think this is your 7th place right here, so I didn't want to bid.
Oh, interesting. Maddie, what made you not continue with Mackenzie?
There's some other people I have an eye on, and I didn't want to spend too much too early, but I do like, kind of like what Zach said, how she's ingraining herself into, these groups, not being super loud, but also making sure she is in the mix. I do think that she could have an advantage going in with a pre-existing connection if they can keep it under wraps. But the minute that gets leaked, it's pretty much like death. People don't like couples in these games most of the time. They like to target one of them, split them up. So it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. Who knows what's going to happen? But I think her social prowess might come back to bite her late game. So I decided, let's just hold off on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Taylor, Mackenzie in her first confessional talked about how much she's going to rely on her personality and that she just might take a villainous turn around halfway through the game. Do you believe her?
I think that she could pull it off. My only hesitation is I actually don't think that Mackenzie and Connor are going to pull a Johnny. I think there's a better chance of them keeping under wraps. However, I could see Mackenzie tanking her game for Connor. Whether she says they're dating or not, I could see her like trying to save him because I feel like we all worry for Connor's game, and I could see that like tanking hers because if she goes around pushing too hard for Connor or anyone, I could see that kind of hurting her. But I like her personality's fun. Like she's obviously a diva. I love her. I would love to see her win. I was interested in having her on my team, but I think I'm a little bit nervous that she also will get clocked kind of like towards the end game.
Yeah, for sure. Mackenzie is one of the people in the cast who has played one of these types of games before. I think that I think that it's an almost fairly even balance of people who have done an LRG before and people who have not. What does anyone have thoughts on that dynamic? Or actually, Abby, let's go to you because I forget that you and Zach are on the same screen. Abby, so can you talk about that dynamic a little bit and where Mackenzie like falls in all of it?
We just joined on the computer.
Yes.
joined
Will
on the
you let us in
computer.
on the new one?
Yes, I will. Fierce. All right, we have the DeQueer ring light in action.
Yes. So I think with Mackenzie, I'm a little hesitant to throw a lot of seeds at her so fast. I think we've seen couples in the game before, and I feel like it doesn't work out well for both of them. Usually neither of them. I think that she's got some experience. She seems to have a good grip on the social aspect, at least. Maybe it's a strategy to lay a little bit low early, which I think works. If that's her strategy, she's doing good. That's not a read. That's just what I think is putting her in a good spot right now. There's names being thrown out there, but hers isn't really one of them. I think she's going to do well, but I won't put all my seeds in that basket that she's our winner.
Fair. Does anyone have any other comments on Mackenzie before we keep moving?
I think she's an under the radar person that could do really well if she decides to turn it on late. I just think it's going to be really hard to overcome because I think there's no way she can hide the fact that she's in a relationship with Connor. And once that gets out, that changes the way people view you, even if you are being truthful and not trying to do anything with that. I do think people see you still as a team and, oh, well, you held that information from me for 6 rounds and now you decide to tell me, how am I supposed to trust you? And so I think that for me was the reason I didn't think she could win. But she could. I think she has the skills for it based on the first episode.
Fierce. Now, Taylor, were you saying something?
I was just going to say, I think whether she wins or not, I do see Mackenzie being pivotal to the season. I just feel it.
Fierce.
I do think that as well. I think she has the ability to wrap people around her finger if she can make those deep connections early.
Well, iconic. That is Mackenzie. So, Zach, I need you to tell me which contestant is the next one up for grabs.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with what I foresee to be a high seed cosplayer. We're gonna go with Stephanie.
All right. Next up is Stephanie, our current tulip, right? Yeah. All right. Here's Stephanie doing a little hair wash move. Do I hear any bids on Stephanie?
I'll go 3.
I'll do 4.
I'll go 5.
Oh,
Stephanie's gonna kill me if she's not on my team. I'll go 6.
6 for Stephanie. Going once. Going twice.
I'll do 7.
Oh. 7 for Stephanie.
Big spenders.
7 going once. Going twice. I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Brody. You get your first teammate, Stephanie, for 7 seeds. While I record that transaction, tell me a bit about why you felt so confident.
Yeah, I think Stephanie showed a lot of tact with the way she went about navigating the greenhouse. I think she was very good about making sure that Kai felt heard and that they weren't steamrolling Kai, even though really Kai never had a choice there. Like Kai was going to get whatever's left over, and at no point was anyone going to give up their better placement for Kai. But I think Stephanie went about that the right way. She seems to be in the right group. I'm not positive she will win. I think she's very high likelihood of like a 4th place here. But I think her skills that she has shown in the first episode are good enough to where she definitely has that potential. And I couldn't overlook that potential. And being in the right groups, I think because she's done these games before, she knows how to navigate them. She knows what people, she probably knows of some of the people that are there, even if she doesn't know them. So she'll be able to navigate some of those relationships, have a little bit more intel, which usually doesn't come into play all that much, but the 1 or 2 things someone may know could be a huge turning point in getting other people to trust you. So I think she's in a pretty good place after the first episode. Tulip's always something I want someone early to have been in the greenhouse. She's in the greenhouse in the first round. So I think she's in a pretty good place.
Fierce. Abby, what did you think about Stephanie's discussions in the greenhouse episode?
She's a diva. I was gonna bid, but Brody beat me to it, and then that was a war I wasn't gonna get involved in. I really like Stephanie. I think that, like Brody said, she's got a lot of potential here. I think that this first greenhouse is going to gain her a lot of momentum. A lot of people are going to be looking to her, looking to trust her, looking to work with her. I think it's going to set her up in a pivotal spot. I'm interested to see what sort of strategy she's going to pair with that. Because if you end up in greenhouse early and you're not the most social person, I mean, that kind of builds the social relationships for you. I think she was already kind of a social person. She seemed to be someone people's getting along with. So you have to have the other half of it to back that up. So I think she's capable of it. Absolutely. So she's what I'm watching for.
Fierce. I'm going to move it to Zach right next to you, Abby. Zach, any additional thoughts on Stephanie?
Yeah, something that I think sticks out to me most with Stephanie is something that's pretty obvious, and that is experience. A lot of this cast are people that are either not familiar with live games or just kind of like, oh, I watched Survivor or something like that. I don't know Stephanie personally, but I know that she is experienced in both online and live games. So she knows how to handle different situations. Like we saw in the greenhouse, how she handled it was something that stuck out to me was that she sort of offered to take Sunflower, but never really made a commitment. So that kind of showed to Kai, potentially I would be able to take this off of you, but also I want it so like we are both benefiting from this. She also, I feel like I remember her saying that or somebody else saying that they have a connection coming in, which is always something important or helpful. My only concern with her is, and this is sort of a meta take given previous greenhouse seasons, she seems as, I think she had the most openly strategic edit this episode out of anybody. And the people that are the most strategic in greenhouse very rarely make it to the end or win. It's usually somebody that is a lot more openly social than somebody that's more openly strategic that ends up winning in the end. So while I think she has a lot of promise going into the game, that's sort of a worry I have there.
Fierce. Interesting take. I want to give a quick shout out to Valencia Burns in the comments. Hi, Valencia. Greenhouse's biggest fan. And I'm going to shift it over to Taylor. So Taylor, you said that Stephanie would kill you if you did not draft her. So assuming she's driving up right now, do you have any last words about her here?
Stephanie, I just want to let you know you are worth more than 30 seeds and anything that Brody's team has to offer you. I just was so worried about bidding so many seeds so early. But I love Stephanie. Stephanie hosted me, or she was on film for Ascendance when I played. She is absolutely the mother figure. She's so sweet, funny, chill, great person. Stephanie's also just very loyal to a fault. And like, there's just a few things I was a little bit nervous on going that high on seeds for Stephanie. She definitely plays a game that could be winning. But in this cast, I'm a little bit nervous that she could almost be like a casualty because she's so loyal to a fault. And also she said that she's not very strategic. And I do think like she will play more like with her allies and like maybe think through everything for her own game. And also like Zach said, she has been pretty open about her strategy. I think that everyone knows it's a great opportunity to take Tulip round 1 without getting blood on your hands. But there's just like a lot of talk. Like she kind of said like she was like definitely had a good shot at winning. Said why you should pick Tulip. And I don't think she means it wrong or is trying to be showboaty, but I think like sometimes things like that can come back to bite her. And I feel like she's easily going to have her hands in a lot of cookie jars. But I love Stephanie so much, and I had her down to take for the team. I was a little worried that the bidding war would get kind of crazy here. But I love you, Stephanie. I hope you win.
Fair. We all love you, Stephanie. Maddie, do you have any other comments about Stephanie or any reservations?
Yeah, so there's some ups and some downs for me with Stephanie. Like she is a veteran of games. She's talked about how she's played these games before. So that can bode well for people having that experience. But like openly talking about it with other people can make them a little bit more, I guess, reserved to want to work with someone like that because they feel that they could get blindsided by them or steamrolled or, some of these other things. But one of the things that really stood out to me with this episode is that she got a perfect score on this first challenge. And I'm like, okay, you are really popping off really early. Could go well because now you're in the greenhouse. You can make all of these connections and you can build something, but a perfect score round 1 is just kind of intimidating for some people. So I fear there may be a target on her going forward because of it.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Now that the challenge has come up, do we have any comments on the first meet and greet challenge? Learning the fun facts of everyone?
I thought it was cute.
Yeah, I think they all did really well about like keeping it lighthearted and just, I kind of think people said what they needed to say. They were kind of wild, but I loved it. It was cute.
I would love to see stats on what questions were answered wrong to know who other people didn't care about whenever they were listening to those intros.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Right.
Let me see if I can pull it up. While I see if I can pull it up, does anyone have thoughts on the seed dilemma? Shout out to Dilemma. Watch season 1 right now on YouTube. That was posed at the end of the quiz. Would you have taken it?
I'm surprised that more people didn't take it. Like I think it was 4 people took it. Most, if not all, players should choose to, especially in this type of challenge, try to not be in the greenhouse, because if you're not going for Tulip, it's very difficult to rotate that into a beneficial first round, especially with it was either 1 or 2 seeds, but either way, with having 0 starting seeds, getting that early seed buildup is really important, especially when you're only down to 14 players already, as opposed to like a 16 or an 18 player cast. But I thought that more people would go for it, especially when some of them were not confident with their scores heading in.
And it's interesting, I guess, because I was on 2 seasons where seeds didn't play quite as much a role in the gameplay. Like I for sure never would have taken that seed. Like the 1 seed to me is not beneficial enough for the relationships that I could be potentially creating through the greenhouse in round 1. Even if it means I'm putting someone or maybe even 2 people up, usually there's enough people that's pretty obvious. Like they're not going to make it long in this game. I can put them up with very little repercussion.
Yeah, I don't know.
Take I've ever heard.
That is the most bro take, because I would for sure go for the seed. There's not a lot of seed options that are anonymous usually. So early on, like the chance of you winning and remembering everything right off the bat, I would have definitely went for the seed. And like Brody's right, like you might not get repercussions if there's like obvious first boots, but you don't know kind of who's connected to who this early. And I just feel like everyone will look at the first couple people who nominate.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm closer to Taylor's side of things. I think especially if I wasn't feeling very confident in my answers, I would personally want to avoid Sunflower and Rose. And I think that if I was not confident I was going to place first, then that extra seed is the type of thing that could push you to a win at the first auction, which historically, or actually I guess maybe not historically, has pretty low bids. So I'm just thinking of season 2, what that Birdie was on, that made us change the rules of the game. Shout out to Lily McGill, and shout out to the new Venus Flytrap pricing mechanism introduced as early as season 4. But yeah, I have pulled up the Google form, and I'll go through it. So first, Cody's question, he was brought in 2 days ago. 10 people got it right. 13 people got that Connor can stand on his head. And at any time, please stop me if you want to discuss any of these fun facts. Courtney started taking pottery classes. That had 11 correct answers. Daniel had 7 teeth taken out. That was 8 people got that right. 10 people got that Dylan could have a very low voice. 5 people got that Erin sprains her ankle once a month. Or that's not true. I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so no, 10 people got it right. Sorry, there's just some variance in the way people phrased it. Let me see. JB can touch his nose with his tongue. Everybody but one person got it right. So that is 13 people getting that one right. Kai plays video games. Only 9 people got that. Vince Vaughn, we had 13 people get that right. One person said famous dude whose name I can't remember.
Icon.
Mackenzie does stand up. 6 people got that right. 4 people put comedy. I can't remember if we gave them credit for that. Seth is anti eating in theaters.
Wait. We need to talk about that one. We need to talk about that
Oh
one.
my god.
What?
must
Besides
hate a movie
popcorn and candy, was that the exception?
That was the exception.
So he's
Girl,
fine
girl.
with eating in theaters then. It's like he doesn't want the dinner theaters.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
doesn't
he
want
must
to
hate a movie tavern.
No movie tavern
No,
allowed.
No movie tavern.
No, I'm sorry. I grew up in a family that would bring whole tacos into like Taco Bell wrapped up in the purse, everything.
Crazy.
Iconic.
What?
No,
Look.
I've done the Alamo personal pizza before. It's pretty fierce.
You raw dog a movie theater is the best way to go. You raw dog it and you bring nothing.
No, I've put a whole burger and fries meal into my purse with the drink.
Brody must just be like made of money over there. Just like buy shit at the theater. What,
No, I don't.
No, he's saying nothing at all.
I'm the opposite. We are.
No. I don't
And to
agree
be
with that
honest, and to be honest, Brody, you have the personality of someone who works out without headphones. Okay, so that doesn't surprise me.
What are you trying to say?
I enjoy my little Alamo entree. Though I did get I don't normally get it. I normally just do popcorn, but last time I did pizza, Oscar and I were watching The Substance, and I didn't finish it because it's body horror or whatever.
Wait, Dylan does also give vibes that he works out without headphones.
I knew Dylan was a freak.
We knew there was something wrong, and that just tied it
Well,
all together.
well, to read Dylan really quick, he streams his workout, so he doesn't want to get copyright banged.
I was about to say.
So let's say that. So that's just because Dylan wants the ad revenue. Okay, so let's just be clear.
Do you get ads when 6 people watch?
You do. Yeah, you do. Dylan, I'm trying to think of something that's $1. Dylan gets a Costco hot dog every time he works out. Okay.
I would
Stephanie's
too.
eyebrows, only 3 people got that. Terrified of birds, geese specifically. About 6 people got that. Trinity flips furniture. 11 people got that. And 5 out of 14 took the seed. So anyway. Any insight from that?
Maybe they were playing it up in these conversations, which I'm sure some of us also would have done, like playing up how bad they felt they did on the challenge. But for the amount of times that I feel like I heard that in the episode, oh, I think I did so bad. Oh, I feel like I didn't know any of those. Why didn't y'all take the seed? Take the seed. If you feel like you flopped, take the seed.
Yep.
Do we know if any of the people that took the seed would have won otherwise?
Good question. I don't have access to this. I would have to calculate everyone's score.
Okay.
Were y'all live making that quiz as they went through their introductions?
Yes. So this is a behind the scenes thing. So after we did the fun facts, we paused filming and had everyone split up into different rooms so that we could position the tripods and cameras around the house. So there's about a 20-minute break between the fun facts and us revealing that they need to know the fun facts. So that makes the game a bit harder than I think it seemed in the episode.
Mhm.
And yeah, actually the Courtney and Taylor conversation after the opening challenge and everything, that was during the sound check. That wasn't really that wasn't chronologically where I showed it. But yeah, fierce. Any other comments on Stephanie?
We love her.
We love her. Okay, great. So Brody, I need you to tell me who's up for grabs next.
Yeah, I think let's go with the workout bro himself, Dylan.
Oh, wait, let me
Cricket.
really maximize my screenshot of Dylan.
What is this screenshot? Just real quick.
I
It's
I
fierce,
actually
isn't it?
tried to do people dirty. But,
I can tell.
I know. I
Every
only
season.
I only had to take one for Dylan. So,
Mhm.
so do I hear any bids on Dylan?
I'll bid one for Dylan.
Okay, so
I'll go
first
2.
seed, 2 from Maddie.
I'll do 3.
I'll go 4.
4 seats on Dylan.
I'll go 5.
5.
Oh, I heard Taylor first.
6.
7.
7 for Taylor. 7 going once.
8.
Oh, 8 for Abrielle. 8 going once. Going twice.
9.
9.
Sorry, Stephanie.
We have some quick Stephanie shade from Taylor as she bids 9 seeds on Dylan. Going once. Going twice.
Take that hit, girl.
I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Taylor. You have claimed your first player of the night, Dylan, for 9 seeds. While I tabulate this purchase, I would like to hear your takes on Dylan. What made him worth almost a third of your bank account?
He's standing right next to me with a gun at my head. Absolutely not worth it. No, I have really wanted Dylan, unlike his ass who shaded me last season, didn't take me. But Dylan knows the game. Dylan knows how to play. And I just think he's really going to do well in this cast. You already see him doing his little fake smile and nods, listening in, planting seeds. He knows what's going on. I think he knows that there's a lot of new people in this cast, and I think he's going to use that to his advantage. And he just knows these games super well. And I think that Dylan is going to be a player who, when he is pushed into the corner, he's going to know how to maneuver the situation, or at least try. People in the first episode already were saying that they liked Dylan. I think that could be also to his downfall a little bit, is being popular and kind of being seen as like a strong player. But I think as long as his ass doesn't get fly trapped, I think there's a good chance we will see him in the end. And that is as nice as I'll ever be towards Dylan. So
All right, Maddie. Dylan says in one of his opening confessionals that he doesn't like to be nice. Do you buy it?
To be determined. As of the episode, I don't, because he's been like, it just seems too natural for him. I don't know. It just seems like he's a very charismatic person. And I do think he's going to do pretty well in this game. But I do think he's a very strategic person. But I don't know if he's letting it on super like early right now. Like, I don't know if people are clocking that he's going to be this threat, but I think it's going to be a slow burn. I would have liked to have him on my team, but like y'all were getting some high bids in there. So I wasn't spending all that money.
Yeah, Abby, you were pretty in the running there to try to get Dylan. Ultimately, you thought that he wasn't worth 9 seeds. What are your reservations, or do you want to talk through the bidding process for Dylan?
Well, first of all, you put Dylan on Team Maddie.
That's fierce. Who got
Taylor?
Taylor? Oh, fierce. Thanks.
Well,
Abby was just trying to drain my seeds, and we know it.
Look, do I want Dylan on my team? Absolutely. Was I willing to spend a good chunk of change? Yes, because that bitch will choke me if I don't. Do I think Dylan's gonna win? I don't know. Dylan gives me. I'll say it takes a 5th place to know a 5th place. Dylan's giving me a 5th placer vibe, like mid jury, late jury. You say you don't want to be nice, but you are nice, but also you're strategic. And when you have a strong presence like Dylan, especially once things get whittled down, it's almost impossible to keep eyes off of you. Even if you're everybody's bestie, even if you've been nice, even if you've been the villain, it doesn't matter, especially once it gets down to a low amount of people. Dylan's just got an obvious amount of charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. And I think that gets scary later in the game, and I think he's going to get clocked for that eventually. I think he definitely has all of the things you need to do well in the game. But I think that can be a downside too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I do think he's pretty visibly in tune with the activity. Brody, I saw a big, almost cartoonish head shake when Abrielle asked the question, "Do I think Dylan's going to win?" Would you like to discuss that?
No, that was more when you asked if he was mean. And I do agree that he is indeed a mean person at times. I've been around him, and I know I'm terrible, and he can match me step for step. That being said, I do think he has a little more tact than I do.
Yes.
So I do think he will do very well. I do think, like Abrielle said, he's going to get very far and just not win. I don't know. I just don't. I don't have a good feel for Dylan in this game yet. I've played Fortnite Among Us with him, and he wasn't very good at that. So I'm expecting he's probably not going to be very good at this if that's the case.
Okay.
Logic is out of this world.
No, Brody's fiercing out tonight. Thank you. Zach, I'd like to hear your comments on Dylan. You could decide to make them positive or negative.
I think Dylan's great. His streams are really good sleep aids, but in this game, I think he's very capable. I've played with him. I think he knows what he's doing. My worry is he's going to be here for the TV. I think if there's, I almost said physical altercation. Not physical. Like a vocal altercation, Dylan will be involved. I think I think he will not be afraid to call a bitch out, and that's all of the energy that I saw from his premiere, and most importantly, what was put forth to us as viewers. I ultimately, and I've said this before to him, I think that he's going to make it far in the game. He is somebody that has brought the most to the table in this premiere, but I don't see him making it all the way to the end. I'm viewing him as sort of a mid-jury 8th through 6th spot. I think he's going to be one of the strategic forces of the season, but I could also see him being messy boots like Thomas from season 6. Hopefully a little bit better than that, but we can only wait and see.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fierce. I forgot. I think because whenever about a week out before the game, I send Holly a list of the contestants and like just kind of my one sentence description of them and how I think they're gonna do. And for Dylan, I said he should win, but but he's gonna get too cute and messy with it. So 8, I think is legit what I texted her. So Zach's read is where I was going into the game. So that's hilarious. Anyway, that's why I'm laughing.
Prove him wrong, Dylan.
And yeah, for the record, and look, I want this redacted after this is posted. Dylan is one of the nicest people I know. He's rotted, but he's extremely nice.
He's a bitch, but a nice bitch.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna give him that shout out real quick. And I felt like I had one more read for him, but it just got lost in the sea of other reads. So I would like to keep moving unless anyone else has another comment about Dylan. I do want to say one more thing from the theater premiere night, because we had a live premiere here in Austin. For the theme song, when Dylan first popped up, I screamed as though it was a jump scare. But anyway, we love you, Dylan. It's all in good fun and shade. Okay, cool. So Taylor, correct, who got Dylan, will choose the next person up for grabs.
Let's go ahead and go with the other Taylor.
Okay. A third Taylor has entered the chat. Do I hear any bids for Taylor?
I'll do 3.
I'll go 4.
Oh.
I'll do 5.
Oh.
6.
Oh. 6. Going once. Twice.
I'll do 7.
Oh. 7. Going once. Going twice. I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Brody. You have recruited Taylor on your team. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, at first when Taylor came on the screen, I'll be so honest, I was not impressed. I was like, okay, this guy's just another guy in the cast. He's going to be fine. But then every time he was in conversations with people, they gravitated towards him and what he was saying. I specifically remember a conversation where it was him, Connor, I want to say Kai was in it, and they all just kept laughing with Taylor. And every time Connor would try to speak, they would just look away. And that for whatever reason just stood out to me of like, oh, this guy's gonna have people following him, and maybe he won't be the most strategic person in the cast. I don't think I got those vibes from him, but I did get similar vibes to almost like your Brandon, where he's just gonna be probably one of the most lovable people in the cast. People are gonna want to gravitate towards him, trust him when he needs them to trust him, and I think we've seen historically that those players just do really, really well. So while he is not the most similar to the game I usually enjoy, I think he has a really good chance of winning the game.
Oh, thank you for that delivery. So next I'm going to pop over to Maddie.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Taylor?
I couldn't get a good read just from the premiere. I think he is going to be a lovable guy. I guess I kind of get the sense that people are going to use him and walk all over him. And I don't know. I struggle seeing, I don't know, like a winning game at this point. I'd love to be proven wrong because I do think he seems like a sweet guy and I want to root for him. I can see him getting to the finale and then getting third right now. Like people just use him to get there and then he won't have something to like back him up in the end. But we'll see. That's just what I'm getting from just this premiere so far.
Interesting. So, Zach, I know when you played the greenhouse, you made the jump from orgs to LRGs. Taylor's in a similar situation and seems to be very anxious about it. Can you talk about the overwhelming transition from online play to in-person play?
Yeah, it's a very different experience. First of all, I didn't want to die after playing Greenhouse, which is not something I can say for many orgs. But it's a whole different environment, especially because
sorry. I'm sorry. I was processing.
I got scared for a second. I said it backwards. No.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Hey.
No, loved Greenhouse, definitely.
Hate orgs.
Hate orgs. No, I think it's a whole different beast, especially at the Austin location because it's such a confined area, where you can be having a conversation and 5 feet away, there's another conversation going on. I think it was a little bit different at the other location because you could be having a conversation at one corner of the house and have no idea what's going on the other corner. Yes. But there, the paranoia is going to be constant, which is something that is nowhere near as present in online games. I'm worried I'm going to be kicking myself in the feet for like not drafting Taylor. Part of my worry is, God, if we have 2 people with the same name in the winner's circle, that's going to be so fucking annoying. But also, I think it's a very realistic thing that could happen. I think he shows a lot of promise in the first premiere. He wasn't the most standout person, but you don't need to be. The things that he did show and give to the table are very interesting and things that I see normally in a greenhouse winner. But yeah, I think he will be able to make the jump successfully. I know there's a lot of people that can't make that jump successfully, but he doesn't give me any of the signs that he would fail to do so.
Yeah, fierce. Abby, you also have played in both locations as an alumnus of both the Greenhouse and Lafayette games and Dilemma, Season 1, now on YouTube. What's your experience between the two?
Crazy jump. Going from orgs, tip-tapping on my little computer in my own space at all times, just doing voice chats and video chats. That's also a big jump, probably a similar jump, honestly, between locations and going from online to in-person. I love Taylor, obsessed with Taylor. It's giving golden retriever boyfriend, if we all know that term, because there's a certain like aura that he really does draw people in. Like I think Brody was talking about that one conversation. It seems like people are going to want to go to him because it's giving a little like comedic relief, sweet angel. The question is, can you weaponize that? Because you got to weaponize that if you want that to work for you in the game. And I think it's definitely possible. I am worried about the anxiety aspect because I get it. Been there. That location would probably drive me nuts in a greenhouse game. I feel like in Dilemma, I was like, we're here to vibe. In Greenhouse, I mean, one time I think I almost passed out on my own HOH in Big Brother because I was so overwhelmed. And that was in the other location where I was like, I could just walk away. I could just go off by myself. You can't do that here. You don't have a moment of peace. So I think that's my main worry is, will that anxiety be Taylor's downfall?
Interesting question. Taylor, do you have any other thoughts about Taylor?
Yeah, I'm also worried that Taylor's one that slipped away from my team as well. I was hoping you guys were sleeping on Taylor a little bit more. In my opinion, I think the beginning is going to be Taylor's biggest obstacle. I think people are drawn to him, but also I think the anxiety aspect, he kind of mentioned it a lot, and I think it's going to be the most overwhelming at the beginning and trying to learn how to maneuver the relationships. He's feeling anxious and everyone's right there. I don't know how well he'll be able to make a decision when it is going against like maybe two different allies. So that was my only hesitation. But I do think if Taylor gets kind of situated early on, then we will definitely see him in the end game.
Yes. With that, do we have any other thoughts about Taylor?
I do think it's worth remembering we're so worried about weaponizing it. Johnny got second place with a tied finale vote in season 2, and there was zero weaponizing of anything from that boy. So I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I guess. But actually, I'm pushing back. I don't think that Johnny's the right comparison. I think that the Brandon comparison made a lot of sense, and Loki, the Clay comparison makes more sense. I think you're looking at more the jokey, more like kind of life of the party type of gay guy. Yes or no? Is that the archetype we're clocking?
That's
was
all 5 minutes of the
I
man.
agree with that.
Followed by Thomas in 3. I don't know who it would have been in 4. I don't think we had that. We had one. But
Season of the Straits.
let me stop clocking my sisters from the past. But I don't know. So I think that it's more of a like strong social leadership quality that we're talking about. Does anyone want to echo that?
Yeah, I guess I wasn't saying that he won't be good in that sense. I was just saying, like, I don't think you need to be cutthroat to be a good potential winner.
Yeah. No, I follow what you mean. Now, anyway.
Maybe not weaponize it, but know how to use it to your advantage.
Yes.
Because players with that comparison that Taylor made did know how to do that.
Okay.
Sorry, that was kind of uncalled of me. It just
Season of the Straits is wild. Well, no, I mean, we did have LGBTQ representation in 4. In fact, we're typically the majority. I think 3 didn't have any straight guys in it. I don't know. I'm not going to go through the cast.
It was Edmund. Edmund was straight.
Oh yeah, no, we had Edmund. So anyway, back to the draft. So Brody, you just claimed Taylor, so it's up to you to say who is up next.
Let's do JP.
All right. JP looking to the side and kind of giggling to himself. Do I hear any bids for JP?
I'll go 1.
Oh,
I'll go 2.
I'll go 3.
I'll do 4.
4 for JP.
I'll go 5.
5 for JP. Going once.
I'll go 6.
6 for JP. Going once. Twice. Congratulations, Brody. You get your 3rd teammate for 6 seeds.
Girl, let us have some.
Talk us through it, Greedy.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of the same traits that Taylor does. I think he thrives in a lot of the same ways. He has that social aspect. A lot of people want him. I think every single conversation I heard outside of, I think, was it Stephanie who was pictured with him Outside of that, every single person wanted to work with him. They talked about how much they liked him, so on and so forth. I think he shares a lot of the same qualities that Taylor does. And I think for the same reasons is the reason I picked him. I think this is me casting my vote that one of these people who usually is not the most strategic person in the cast, but is well aware of the strategy, but is more the social butterfly, tends to win. And these are the people I want on my team.
Yeah, solid. It's actually Trinity who is the Rose, who is JP's partner.
Yes.
So Taylor, do you have any thoughts on JP? And then I want to hear your take on the HollyCon photo twist.
Oh, okay. I like JP. I think JP is going to do very well socially. My biggest hesitation was that JP's name is already out there. And I don't think that train normally stops once that starts to happen. Especially in the partner twist. I think there's a very good chance JP could go up this week. Also, I could see JP being like a little bit of a shit starter. I feel like there were a few times this first episode where JP would say something like, "Did you see this?" Or, "Hey, it's the lawyers." And whether JP is doing it for his own game or not, I think like JP could cause chaos, and I could see some of that chaos coming back to JP. But I think JP is going to be so fun to watch. And as far as the twist goes, I kind of already touched on it. I love the twist. I meant to mention this last round. I kind of held off on Taylor because Dylan is Taylor's partner. And I could see Dylan being so super nasty and getting Taylor out early just because it's Dylan. And then same thing, I think this twist adds a whole nother layer because you are going to be using that to gain allies, but also like it's going to be a lot trickier to not lose them or to not get caught doing some of the things you're doing because you're not just affecting one person. Well, I mean, guess you are, but I don't know. I like it.
Fierce. Let's go to Maddie. Any comments on the twist and then on JP?
Yeah, I like the twist because basically a lot of people, I guess, initially when you have to find someone to go take a picture with Holly, you're like, oh, well, this would be a great way to like start building something with somebody, just to turn the knife on them and say, actually, you can get them out and get seeds. So that bond you just made, cut it. So I think it's interesting. I think it's going to play a really cool dynamic because you kind of see Trinity talk about it a little bit because she's like, well, maybe I'll put him up so I can get the seeds. But they also talked about how they initially vibed together. So it's like, what do you value more here? Do you value getting that seed and trying to put yourself ahead money-wise, or do you value the connections you're trying to make? Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be really telling for everybody in this cast, how they navigate this twist on what they prioritize more.
Which one do you think you would prioritize?
Early game, social connections. But once we get down to the nitty gritty later, I would go for the seeds when there's less people. If my person was still in, I would probably go to cut them later in the game. But at this stage, I'd go for social camaraderie. I don't know, whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. I follow what you mean. Before we get back to JP, what are other thoughts on this? What would anyone here prioritize seeds early on?
I think that like round one is like the only round outside later in the game that you can do it. If this like greenhouse can all agree, oh, we have nothing to go off of, we're just putting up our partners, which I don't think will happen. I think it'll give them the least blood. But I think like even round 2 or 3, if people do that, people are just going to see you as like shady and like you don't care. Like you took a picture of someone because you like them, but like you're like kicking them out just for 1 seed. So
2 seeds.
I don't know. Oh, 2 seeds. Oh, that changes things.
If it were me, I think I would be grouping up with all the different pairs and pictures. That way, if my ally gets voted out, at least my group is being compensated for one of my allies leaving. Mm-hmm. That way, I think at all points you're somehow winning. And then if it's between 2 of your allies, you kind of can navigate that differently. I think it just makes the loss of an ally a little bit easier to deal with if you're getting paid for it.
Yeah, that's the exact approach I would do. I would get like 3 pairs together and then be like, look, we can turn on each other all we want, but if we stick together and lose numbers, then like it's kind of an insurance policy for the group.
I actually think I'd take a different approach with it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I would take one person from each pair or something like that, because if you have that and you make a majority out of that and you start eliminating the other halves of the pairs, your seeds will go up exponentially. And I know that's not the most exciting thing to watch, but like it really puts the other side at a what can we do, because they have to win seed immunities or they're broke. I think this twist is one of the best greenhouse twists in my opinion, because they can't avoid it. There's some other twists that they can just kind of ignore. This one, not so much. I'm also surprised because I feel like it is such a gimme in round 1 if you're greenhouse and you have this, hey, you have a target and you can get 2 seeds. I'm surprised that the greenhouse didn't go more towards that direction, because it's just an easy nom for round 1. And only one of them really expressed any desire to go after that person they just met and took a photo with. But I think that's probably what I would do.
Yeah, no, I think that's super smart. That makes sense to me.
I agree with that take, because I thought about that. I was like, if you got one half of all the pairs, you could just almost steamroll it. But to play devil's advocate on the first round, if you're in a nominating role and you don't nominate your duo, your partner in the picture, that could build social capital for you that could go long term, because you could have taken an easy shot all you wanted, but you just decided to do something different, and now that person quote unquote owes you. Do they follow up on it? Who knows? It depends, I guess, on the person. But I do think it helps build social capital if you don't just initially take that easy shot right there, round 1.
I do also think with the regulators strategy of getting one person from each duo to work together, I do think that poses a risk of any one person being defensive of their partner. Like, okay, I'm happy to get rid of everybody's partners, but don't do mine first. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it'll pretty quickly result in stepped on toes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's all just so interesting. Shout out to whoever came up with that. But
I think I did this in what game was it? Was it Big
Look at
Brother?
Taylor's face. He's pissed.
No, Taylor. We did this before.
I did like target hunts before on 2 and 3. That might be what you're thinking.
There was one that I was in, and I think it was only 3 of us.
Yeah, that was Greenhouse 3 with the fire hunt. You, Thomas, and Jack had to choose one person to target.
Yes.
Whoever did it first got 2 seeds. So it was more of a race to get your target out. And you all chose each other. I
guess with that one, it wasn't as because it wasn't everybody, it wasn't as intense. So I do really like that this is everybody. There was no strategy for it because they didn't know it was happening. Iconic.
Yeah, and technically nobody had to take a picture. They all opted into doing it, but I made them start with 0 seeds. So anyway, the easiest seed possible.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I look forward to the Watch Mojo top 10 greenhouse twists, or maybe just a general BuzzFeed power ranking best to worst, or other way around. Let's end on a positive.
Writing the script right now.
Thank you.
We'll look in the Reddit later.
Yeah, there is a greenhouse Reddit, and it's gonna blow up soon. So
I'm thinking about asking for leaks from the premiere.
I know from the
watch party.
Yeah, I know. I'm keeping an eye on Blizz's account. I feel like Blizz is gonna leak it all. But anyway, Brody, who is the next player up for grabs?
Let's do my favorite Cody.
Oh, Cody is up for grabs. Do I hear any bids on Cody?
Sorry, I'm gonna put myself on mute real quick.
I'll do one.
So much for your favorite.
One for Zach. Oh my God.
That's so shady.
I'll do 2.
Two on Cody.
3.
3 on Cody.
I'll go 4.
4 on Cody.
5.
5 on Cody. 5
I'll
going
go
once.
6.
6 on Cody.
Okay, I'm out.
6 going once. Going twice. Congratulations, Taylor. You have recruited Cody on your team for 6 seeds. Talk us through your pick on Brody's favorite.
You can stay muted. No, I think Cody's going to be a sleeper. I think we talked about this if you guys tuned in to us watching the first episode on Dylan's stream. I think that like he's going to come in and have people underestimate him, but that he's going to drop little hints and know a lot more what's going on than he's leading on. And I think people are just going to overlook him for that. I think it's the people who are getting overlooked that you have to be worried about. And I think Cody is going to be one of those people.
Fierce. Brody, I want to kick it off to you. I expect with the public muting of yourself, which is something I've never seen you do, you have quite the take here.
Yeah, I just don't see him socially being that person in this group. I think he just didn't seem to fit in. I don't think that's anything against Cody in particular. I just think with the group of people, this cast and how they were interacting with each other, he was never mentioned as someone other people wanted to work with. And then he just kind of really tried hard on this challenge with the I'm going. And I think it just puts a taste in people's mouth of like, oh, this is the serious person. This is the Ross or the someone who's gonna be hyper aggressive. And I didn't see anything from like a super social standpoint to make me think, oh, he can pull himself out of that and convince people that's not him.
Yeah. No, that was a pretty bold move at the start of the Seed Immunity Challenge. Abrielle, what did you think about our tour of languages before you talk about Cody?
Nasty work as someone with awful memory. Nasty work. I really liked it actually. Zach and I were talking about this at some point, and we were talking about how it could have been a strategy for Cody to go first because maybe you could have gotten to go through all the questions, and she wouldn't tell you if you got them. Like, unless you got them all right, she would just say wrong and wouldn't tell you how many you got wrong or something like that. And at least you'd know all the questions. If that was the strategy, I could, I guess, see the merit in saying, I want to go for, like, can I go right now? Otherwise, I was like, I screamed. I was like, let's not, calm down. Slow, like, pump the brakes, because that is definitely going to, someone's going to bring that up at some point. I would bet money on it. Someone is going to bring it up later and say, like, do you guys remember on that first challenge? He seemed like he was gunning for it pretty hard. So I am a little worried about that, a little worried socially. It seems like strategy-wise, he could have a lot of more aggressive takes or just bold moves that he would like to work towards. I don't know if the rest of the cast would be as open to them. I think there are some specific people that would go along with it. There are some people who I think would appreciate more aggressive moves. If he can align himself with those people and they can get in positions of power, it could really work for him. But I'm going to need to see a lot of work from Cody.
Do you have any names in mind for those people jumping on his tactics?
I think Dylan could be one for sure. Who else do we have? I think Connor. Connor and Dylan, I think, could probably be open to making some more aggressive or bold movements. I think if those three get to like those three together, I could see a fly trap. Like I could see them trying to work towards that. I feel like a lot of other people would be a little bit more hesitant, but those three, just off the top of my head, seem like the ones who would be more willing to go for it. So if they group up, I mean, they could make things happen, but they would also be bigger targets by doing so. So I'm kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I see it. Maddie, what are your thoughts on Cody?
He's another one I couldn't get a great read on. But it did worry me that he had the strategy of going first. The minute he did it, I thought, oh, he's going to go listen to all the questions and then he can figure out like which ones and he'll win his respective comp. And I thought that's pretty smart, but to do it so quickly, so publicly, like I was like, I don't think you handled it in the right way. I like where his like head was at for it, but I don't know. I think it's going to put a target on him. He reminds me of someone that I cannot put my finger on, like a past player, and I don't know. I can't figure it out. I was trying to go through the past cast to see if I could figure it out, but I can't. But I don't know. I don't have a good vibe at this moment.
Yeah, I follow. Zach, what are your thoughts on Cody?
Cody is sort of I have two split opinions on him that are likely going to develop on one end or the other based on this next episode, purely because we haven't gotten much confessional content from Cody. There's one end where it's like, okay, so he's playing this sort of like awkward fish out of water character. Is this a character or is this how he actually is about the game? If it is his character that he's playing up, I could see a good level of longevity to him. And if not, I'm very worried for him. Regardless, I think my biggest fear for him is in the early game. I think once he gets past those first couple rounds, he's sort of that wild card that people keep around for some reason, like every time, and could get into like a messy, chaotic power position. I don't see him directly as a winner candidate yet, but that could change. I also like the strategy, if it is a strategy, of acting like you have no idea what the fuck is going on, what you signed up for, and being like, wait, there's more than one power per round, that kind of shit. So we'll have to wait and see if that's intentional or not. But I'm very interested. He's one of the people I have an eye on to see develop as a character, because he's one of the people that I don't have really a lot of a read on after this first episode. But yeah, I don't think he's played any games like this before, but he seems to know Survivor, so I think he has at least a little bit of a grasp on what to do, but we'll see if that translates into any sort of game ability.
Yeah, for sure. I think that one of the big hurdles in Greenhouse is trying to avoid becoming the person, like exemplifying a certain part of the game, like being the most social one or the most strategic one. So I think for someone who's clearly so game-minded, like Cody, making that initial move in the Seed Immunity Challenge, I think that this kind of like fish out of water act or not act, we will see, I think is a good way to kind of mitigate someone who I see as a to me, visibly brainy player. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but anyways, Taylor, you are up next at choosing the next player up for grabs. Who is it?
Let's go with Daniel.
All right, Daniel, my good friend from law school. He was in my wedding. Shout out. Do I hear any bids on Daniel?
I'll start it with 3,
4,
5,
6,
7,
8,
9.
That's crazy.
9 on Daniel.
I'll keep going.
Y'all can't let me have anything.
You'll get somebody, I'm sure. You go 30. I mean, you could go 30 on Daniel.
9
are
on
we at?
Daniel.
We're at 9.
I'll go 10.
11.
$11 on Daniel. Going once. Going twice.
12.
13.
13 on
All right.
Daniel. Going once. Going twice. I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Zach. You have recruited Daniel for 13 seeds.
Hell yeah.
You were pretty aggressive in the auction there. Can you talk us through what makes you feel so strongly about Daniel?
I couldn't quantify it. I don't know why I feel so good about Daniel, because he didn't have the best premiere. But something about him gives Johnny season 2 kind of me season 6 upside.
Yeah.
Both games that were 1 vote away from winning.
Yes.
My biggest worry for Daniel is the lawyer connection, which seems like it's leading up to be a big plot line in the season. But I don't think that he is going to be the casualty for that. I think it's going to be Seth. I think he was introduced as like a very quiet, under the radar, sort of like not very present in this first episode. But I could see, as the conversations were going on, like I could see his gears turning in his head. Like I said, I don't know why exactly I have such a good vibe for Daniel, but he's one of the 2 people that I feel the best going into this season after this first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like the comparison of Daniel to kind of like the shy girls.
Yeah.
Shy girls who have a good head on their shoulders strategically.
As long as he speaks into the mic, we're good.
As long as he speaks into the mic, we're good. Brody, you played with Johnny, so do you think that there's any merit to that comparison?
I mean, Daniel's way better than Johnny ever was. Daniel has every strategic aspect. I think he's very good at vocalizing what he's intending, what his thoughts are. I think he's so straightforward that it's going to be to his benefit that he's able to vocalize these things well. My only concern with Daniel is I just think I've met him personally. I just think he's almost too nice to where some people will just use that against him. Notably, your Dylans of the world who don't want to necessarily play a nice game. And I think Daniel's going to do very well, but I think he will be one of the casualties when the bigger group he is starting to align with from the first episode, if that becomes a thing. I think he will be one of the ones late in the game when the other side happens to win a full greenhouse and they have to put someone up. I think his team would be more willing to see him go than someone else on their squad.
I see that. Abrielle, you were right there toe to toe with Zach. I'd like to hear some of your thoughts on Daniel.
I'm pissed off. I think that Daniel has a lot of the right pieces to make it very, very far. A bit worried about the lawyer thing, but if anyone can get out of the lawyer thing, it's a lawyer. Like, if anyone can maneuver their way out of a sticky situation, it's probably going to be the lawyers. Not always, but I think Daniel has that very like sweet composure that it's going to make it so easy for people to trust him. I think he is just kind of going to be like a breath of fresh air for people. But I know Daniel's smart. So Daniel's going to figure out very quickly how to make plays and how to make good plays. So I think that social capital there, that strategic capital is there. I would bet my bottom dollar that Daniel's also good at some puzzle things. So could be good at some competitions. Just a lot of the right base of a good player potential. So I'm a little upset about that one.
I follow. Taylor, I would like for you to jump on the Daniel commentary. Thoughts?
Daniel was someone I really was considering for my draft, but y'all kind of real quick went back to back on that one. I think Daniel's smart. Daniel's very logical. I learned at the wedding of the season that he knows like a lot of statistics on Survivor, so his gears are always turning. My hesitation on Daniel is that I think it's very obvious his gears are turning.
Yeah.
Where lists are a good idea in the beginning, people aren't going to forget that he had the list, at least in my opinion. And not that you want to like put people in like their little archetypes, but you're going to. I think people are always going to be scared of a Daniel. Whether or not he's new to the game, people know he's a lawyer. You can tell he's logical. People are just always going to be worried about that. And I fear that he is going to be, I think he's going to go far, but I could see him going out like 7th to 5th to 4th kind of thing. But I love Daniel. I'm excited to watch him play. I think he will do well. So,
Yeah.
who's he against? Like in his little picture?
Stephanie.
Okay.
Stephanie,
the gross one. Yeah.
Is his partner. Maddie, Daniel famously said in his first confessional that he's worried he could be too trusting in the game. What are your thoughts about that quality of Daniel's that I don't think we've touched on yet?
I think that can get you in trouble as someone who usually is pretty trusting in a lot of games. It can come back to bite you in the ass if you're not careful with it, or how to play it. And yeah, I have a lot of reservations when it comes to Daniel in this game. I think he has a lot of pieces and makings of a great player, but I think this cast might eat him alive. I think he's already got a target on his back with this lawyer connection. And something else that I've picked up on this opening episode was he was giving away a lot of information on people real early. He was like, oh yeah, I'm a lawyer, Seth's a lawyer, Courtney's a lawyer, which no one knew Courtney was a lawyer at that given moment. So he's inadvertently grouped himself with 2 other people of lawyers. He is openly just dishing out this information to people. Maybe he'll build relationships with it. However, I think some people are going to be like, oh, he has loose lips. I don't know. I'm just real nervous for him. I don't have that great read on him, I guess. I'm not.
Do we have any responses to Maddie's concerns?
I think that it'll go very differently with this cast if it's like Daniel has loose lips kind of thing. Like it could very well go that way, but the way I see it is that people are going to see that, and if that is a concern, they'll keep him at an arm's length, but say, oh, he's going to spill information to me, I should keep him around for longer. And in doing so, he can build a footing in the game, which I'm confident that he can do, and then move up from that. If he survives this lawyer connection thing, he already has a story in his favor towards later in the game, which obviously we have to get there first. But I'm confident that he knows what he's doing. He's seen these games happen live, and he's seen how people react to certain things. I'm pretty sure there's some level of thought behind, oh, I'm going to say that Courtney is a lawyer in a group full of 4 other people. If it was some other players in this cast, I would be worried that it's just being loose-lipped to be loose-lipped, but I think there's actually intention behind that.
Yeah, I'll agree, because he did like film season 6, so like he has seen the game. He kind of knows what people are doing. I think he's just got to find the right allies, like you said, who want to use his brain and not weaponize it. Well, use it for their side and not see it
A little
as
bit
like
of
a
both.
weapon or threat. Yeah.
Fierce. Any other comments on Daniel before we keep moving? Okay, great. Zach, you get to pick which Greenhouse 7 contestant is up for grabs next.
I'm kind of interested to see what people say for this person, so I'll go Connor.
Connor. All right, here we go. Connor, one of the big characters from the premiere, in my opinion. Do I hear any bids on Connor?
I'll go
I'll go
1.
speed. I'll go 2.
I'll go 3.
3 on Connor. Going once.
I'll go 4.
4 on Connor.
They both want someone.
4 on Connor. Going once. Going twice. I'm going to call it. Was it Abby?
Mm-hmm.
Abrielle, you have claimed your first player of the night, Connor, with 4 seeds. How do you feel about your first recruit?
I need Connor to. First of all, I'll say that I want Connor because I want Connor to change my mind. And I think he's capable of doing that with a secret girlfriend, with an aggressive play style. He's been very social. I don't know how receptive other people have been to it so far, but he's putting himself out there. And it seems like he's got the knowledge background to utilize that. So I really want him. When I watched the episode, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I want him to prove me wrong because I think he's capable of it. He just has to really play things right.
Fierce. Who wants to take the next jab at Connor?
No, that wasn't a read.
I think he has the makings to do really well. I think he has the tools. I think he just needs to use them right. Something that I wrote down in my notes was that I feel like he's being overly confident. Could go well, could go bad, just depending on how you let that affect your game. If that makes you lower your guard or not. But I do think the secret connection, the secret girlfriend could be very beneficial until it's not. Kind of, yeah. I mean, I think he has the makings to go far, but I don't know if he'll go to the end. I don't know.
Zach, what are your thoughts?
Because I watched the episode twice. On the first watch through, he was somebody I had a lot higher up in my rankings. After a second watch, I'm a bit more hesitant just because he has a very outgoing, prominent personality, but so far, based on how people react, it doesn't seem like he's being received too well. That conversation with Louis is very damning for a first, one of the first conversations you have with somebody, because he was trying to pledge his loyalty to Louis, and Louis was not having it. I think Connor could find himself in a good position. I want him to prove me wrong. He seems very nice, and he seems like he could be able to know what he's doing. And he has a secret girlfriend in the game. I mean, that's always a plus. But he just feels very over the top off the bat and not in a great way. He reminds me of a player. I'm not sure who, but I'm going to go with Thomas from 6. Just as a starting comparison. But that's very baseless because it's right off the bat. But he gives me the same kind of over-the-top energy, but we'll see how it goes.
Fierce. Taylor, I'd like to hear your take next.
When I was first watching his video, I was like, oh, if I was playing, I would want this man out so fast. Not my kind of ally. I just hate someone who comes and being told what to do, but then we see him talking to Louis, and I'm like, okay, I think maybe it was more of a bit, but he still said the one thing, I trust you and all this, and that's great. But he also said, we'll be loyal until we can't. And that's something you internalize. That's not something you say. You're already planning on getting out of this little allyship, whatever. I don't know. Like what you guys have said, having a girlfriend's great. I just do worry that whatever Connor wants, Connor is going to make known. And so if people are not with it, I do fear for Connor. But he also does seem like he can be fun. He was the headstand, right?
Yes.
So I think I could also see people loving the bit and kind of being, all right, this is our face. This is who we're going to hide behind. So I don't necessarily think people are going to come at him that early. I just don't know if I see him as a winner, but I wouldn't be mad if like he changed my mind, like in future episodes.
Yeah, no, I think it's true to differentiate. I think it's important to differentiate between what he's saying in confessionals
Right.
and what he's saying around the people. Because I mean, pile of bodies is crazy. But I do think that he was more like equivocal when talking to players, though I do think that the sometimes that goes in a bad direction, like the example you pointed out, Taylor. I think
And
saying,
he has played before. Like his confessional game, like, you know, I don't care. Like sometimes when you play your first game, you just like, I don't know. But he has played before. And so I think he can also use that to his advantage.
yeah, for
This
sure.
confessional gave me Brody energy.
No, for sure. And that's why I was like, oh.
He gives me mix of Brody and Brady almost.
That's a combo no one wants.
Rotted comparison. Oh,
Lethal.
oh my god.
See, to me, he gave like Christian before he started like playing up the feminine.
I can see that. Yeah.
So rotted.
Why not a mix of all three?
And I don't know. For me, I think Connor, like, I think he has a lot of skill for the games. I think if it was a different cast, he'd probably do very, very well. But watching the interaction between him and Louis made me want to curl up in a ball and just like, I was so uncomfortable watching it from like a screen on my phone. I can't imagine being the person filming that conversation because Connor's clearly lying to Louis with every word out of his mouth. Louis is clearly not understanding what Connor's trying to do with teaming up. And I just felt like neither one was long for the game. If I'm being perfectly honest, like I'll tell you right now, y'all can bid on Louis because I will not be. Like I think he's very talented. I think he definitely could do well. I think he is more of a survivor player where he has a team around him that is kind of forced into his lap. And then he would be able to manipulate them really well. I think in a very open forum type game like the Greenhouse, he's going to struggle a little bit more.
I see that observation. Did I ask everyone for their comments? Did I miss anyone? Okay, Fierce. Any last thoughts on Connor? Child of Brody and Brady? What would that even be?
Rotted.
With Uncle Christian.
With Uncle Christian.
With Uncle Christian.
Uncle Christian's terrifying.
The straight.
Oh, let's go.
Really no.
Oh god.
Okay, well, Fierce, thank you. So, Abrielle, you have your first team member, and now for the first time, you can choose.
God.
You can choose who's up for grabs. So, fire away.
Let's go with a true diva. Let's go with Aaron.
All right, Aaron, alumnus of Survivor Rocky Road. Aaron is here.
Really?
Do I hear any bids to recruit Aaron?
I'll do a seed.
I'll do 2 seeds.
2 seeds on Aaron. Going
Welcome,
once.
Kiri.
3 seeds on Aaron. Going once. Going twice. I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Maddie. You recruit your first player, Aaron, for 3 seeds. Is this a steal?
Yeah. Absolutely. I was like, you know what? Don't have any players. I'm not fully sold on Aaron yet. However, I was like, the bid is low. And I'll take it at this moment because I think I still have the most seeds now, so I can still go for one of the people I do want to be gunning for in the coming soon. So definitely a steal. I think she's very sweet. What she's giving in this first episode is sweet, is under the radar. However, there's a few different people that have started to clock her in this first episode. There are a few people that are like, oh, she like mentioned Thomas, like, and someone else was like, yeah, that's the host brother, like, and they're putting this connection, all this stock into this connection when if Thomas was playing the game, okay, but he's not. So like, who gives a shit? But whatever. I do think it's kind of put a little bit of a target on her back, but I didn't know she played before. So like, hey, that's a plus. She has some experience. I think if she can get around this very early stage, people wanting to clock her, I think she has the makings to be a phenomenal ally that people want to keep with them. She just has to get over this first little hurdle. Make it past like the first 3-4 rounds. I think she makes a really deep run. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, which no shade. I mean, knowing Thomas isn't that fierce. Like, I feel like no shade. Like, I feel like that's the same thing as saying like, oh, she knows the host.
Right. That's why I was like, who gives a shit if you know Thomas? Like, Thomas isn't playing. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I get the angle of like talking about how comfortable she is in the group, but I don't know. Like, to be honest, just clock where everyone comes from. I believe everybody but her is from Austin. You know, like the likelihood of her, like, yeah, I think so. Like the likelihood of Aaron having any meaningful pregame connections to me is low. But I don't know. That's just my take on the whole Thomas gate. Typical Thomas rigging the game from outside. Abrielle and Zach. Or actually, I want to go to Taylor. I feel like typically I go to Taylor third or fourth. Taylor, I want to get your take on Aaron.
I like Aaron a lot, actually. I think that she's kind of a calm and like a cast of like a lot of big personalities. I think the biggest hurdle for her is going to be Kaya said her name twice and Kaya's in power. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron is nominated for like a total bullshit reason, but it is what it is. It's someone's going to get nominated. But I think if she can make it past the first few rounds, I think she'll get pulled in. This is her first game, right?
This is her second game. She played Survivor Rocky Road.
Okay, so she knows the game. So I really do think if she can get past the beginning, that people will pull her in for votes. I think she could be a little bit of a sleeper, but I'm just a little bit nervous for her. But she seems so fun.
Yeah, no, she is cool as a cucumber and one of the funniest people I know. I love to
the challenge is so funny.
Oh, I know. Oh my god. Yeah, because a little bit behind the scenes. So I didn't really get to show this as much because of how crowded the living room was, but players were comparing notes and sharing the questions with one another to try to get. So if I give you the first two questions, I don't think you're going to get the rest of the questions. So you could give me one or two, and then I'm not much closer. It was kind of the gig. She went out knowing all the questions and all the answers, and then blanked on the first one that she had previously gotten correct. That whole like
icon.
That whole like unraveling was like literally 2 or 3 minutes. It was so fierce. But anyway, Brody, I'll kick it to you. I'm gonna make the siblings wait.
I think Aaron reminds me of Caitlyn from season 2. Like, I think she's gonna be one of the comedic relief, probably very involved socially. I don't know if she's going to be driving a lot of the strategy behind it, but I think she's going to be a really good ally for a good group of people. I kind of wanted to bid on Aaron. I was very tempted to at the end, given how cheap she is, because I don't think she deserves to be that cheap. I think she is worth more than the 3 that Maddie just spent. But I think Aaron has a good potential to go far. I just don't know what she would pull out to win.
Interesting takes all around. Abby, I want to hear what you think about Aaron's premiere.
I love her. She's perfect. I love a comedic relief girly. Make them laugh. Make them underestimate you. It's a lot about the energy, especially in such a tight space like this location. And if you have the good energy that people are drawn to, it's going to help you. I don't know how to quantify it, but it's going to help you. And I think she has that. If she can get out of this sticky situation with Kai throwing her name out, even if she does go up, I feel like it's not going to gain much traction. People are going to want to keep her because they like being around her. And I think that can get her pretty far in the game. I think if she pairs up with really good allies, I think if she has, I mean, she's played Survivor before, so she knows what the workings of strategy are like. So if she can place that map out for her to use, I think she can go really far.
Fierce. And to give her a quick shout out, she did place 4th in that Survivor game. Zach.
I'm kind of regretting not going another seed. I won't lie. I'm really regretting it.
Zach, I'm going to kick it to you.
I am very scared for Erin, at least in this first round. I'll call it like I see it. I think Kai just wanted an op off the bat. And Erin happened to be the choice. And then Kai happened to get in the greenhouse and happened to get 3rd. So she happened to get Sunflower. And it's just a bunch of bad circumstances where Erin may not be able to get her footing in the game. You mentioned she's the only one from Austin, so she's the only one guaranteed to not have any connection on this cast. I could be wrong, but I didn't see her making any decent bonds in this first episode. And any time that she was spoken about, it did feel to lean more negative because it was mainly Kai talking about her. Even though people did come to her defense when they were outside talking, where it was Kai and then a couple other people. I think she seems very sweet. She seems funny. My worry is she won't get the chance to make those connections. My one hope for her to overcome it is either miraculously the JP push somehow works out, or the lawyer connection ends up making a big impact, which don't look at episode 2 title, but I think it might. But I don't see her going too far just based on how this first episode has gone. But if she's able to get that footing, then I could see her making a deep run.
Yeah, cute. Any other comments on Erin before we continue? All right, Fierce. Maddie, for the first time, you get to choose the next player up for grabs.
Let's go with Seth.
All right. Seth, big cheesin' with the thumbs up. My friend from my last job, Seth. Do I hear any bids for Seth?
I'll do 1.
I'll do 2.
I'll do 3.
3 for Seth.
I'll go 4.
4 for Seth.
Let's go 5.
5 for Seth. Going once.
I'll go 6.
6 for Seth.
I'll go 7.
7 for Seth.
Oh, Brody, you're going to lose this battle because I think I'm going to lose the battles of other people I want. So I'll go 8.
I'll go 10.
10 for Seth.
Is that all you got? I'll go
Yeah,
11.
you can outbid me if you'd like.
All right.
Yeah.
11 for Seth. 11. Going once. Going twice. I'm going to call it. Taylor, you have recruited Seth for 11 seeds. Talk us through your strategy here.
Well, I think Seth will be another sleeper pick. He is a lawyer, right? He's one of the lawyers.
Yes, he's one of the lawyers.
So I mean, he has that going for him with connections there. I don't know. I think he's just going to be another person who's kind of more chill when other people are pushing. But I do think that people will kind of pull him in if he's quieter. And he's smart. I'm sure he's logical because he is a lawyer. He hasn't played anything, has he at all? No.
He hasn't.
Yeah, no shade to Seth. I do think I'm not going to get someone else I really want. So I decided to go all in for Seth, and he's going to surprise me. So
Yeah. That checks out. Some beginner's luck for Seth.
Yep.
Birdie, you were in the mix until Taylor reminded you how many seeds you still have. Talk us through your confidence in Seth.
Honestly, I thought no one else would bid that many, so I just kind of bid on him. And I kind of wanted him just because I think he's going to be a really fun player. I don't think he's going to win, to be perfectly honest. I just wanted him on my team for the fun factor. I'd rather have a team of people I want to root for than people I don't. So because of that, I wanted him, but I do think, like Taylor said, he's sharp. I think he has all the brain power for it. I think he's kind of in a pickle early with the lawyer group. I think he's probably the least situated of the three of them. But I do think if he can navigate his way out of that, he's probably going to do really well. I think he's going to be one of those players that needs 2 or 3 rounds to really get his roots in and get people drinking the Kool-Aid. And then once they do, he's going to be set up on a slingshot towards the end. And I think he has like true winner potential, not just making it far.
I follow. Maddie, what are your thoughts on Seth? You seem kind of inactive during that bidding process.
Because I was. I don't know. Out of the 3 lawyers, I'm the most nervous for him. I think I have a strong, sneaky feeling he's going to be put up this round. And I don't know if he'll survive it. I don't know. I have my doubts. I want him to prove me wrong. I really do. I just have my doubts. I don't see him getting past the initial few rounds. And I don't know, I'm nervous. I haven't seen him make really good social bonds just yet. Like, yes, he's coming in knowing 2 other people as being lawyers. But as we saw, like, for instance, in All-Stars, if you're coming in with a strong, like, group of friends, it's like going to be something that's a target until someone's gone. And I think he will be the casualty of that. Someone's got to go from the group.
It's a fair concern. Zach, do you have anything to add?
So speaking purely from Premier, Seth is the only player that I feel like I got absolutely nothing from other than outside of his opening confessional. I know he was in a conversation or 2, but I can't remember a single thing he said in those conversations. I feel like something my roommate said stuck with me, that he feels like he's not made for this cast, that he feels very separate from all of them and just his energy. Like, even like during his intro, he like bumped into Mackenzie or something, and it felt so awkward just viewing it, and it evil keeping that in. But I think especially with the lawyer connection, because we are seeing the other 2 insulating themselves already, and we don't really have anything from Seth. If it does end up coming down to that, I do think Seth will be the casualty of that. Especially because I don't think we've seen Courtney talk to the greenhouse, but we have seen Daniel talk to at least, I think, Stephanie and maybe Kai in Trinity. I'm not sure. But I think that if there's any option out of that, it feels like Seth would be the most separated from the group. And I could be totally wrong. But something about him, I'm sure he's like a great guy. But I don't think he's long for the game. I'm not seeing the winner potential. But I could be blind. I could need new glasses.
Abby, does Zach need new glasses?
Honestly, I think we both do. No, I think I definitely see everything Zach's saying. During the premiere, I did want to reach through my screen and grab him by the shoulders and shake him and say, wake up, please wake up. If you can, like, if he can get picked up, if he can get scooped into something, if he makes that push to set something up, which I think he's capable of. I fully believe he is smart enough to think about alliances, about numbers, and push to set things up. For this premiere episode, he was definitely under the radar, almost invisible edit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially with some of the bigger personalities in the house. I think that could work very, very well for him. But I need it. I need to see it. I need to see the work. I know it's easy to get lost in the premiere with so many people and so many things going on and so many confessionals. So I did lose him a little bit, but if he gives that little bit of a push, he's grouped in with the lawyers. Okay, use that. I mean, like, he can see that some other people are kind of more on the quiet side too. Use that, group up with them. I can't remember who said it in this episode, but I think somebody was talking about like trying to pick out who the outsiders were in the house and group up with them. I think it was Daniel that said that.
It was Daniel.
Do that. Especially in a game like this, if you're not someone who's super outspoken, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're going to be bad at the game. You just have to know how to be social when you need to be and how to be social enough to set something up for the long run. And I need to see that from him, and I need to see it fast, because that lawyer train is leaving the station. And if it gains momentum, they are not going to be able to stop it.
T. Any other thoughts on Seth? All right, Fierce. Let's keep going. So who claimed Seth? That was Taylor. Taylor, who's the next player up for grabs?
Let's do Courtney.
All right. Courtney, the last of our 3 lawyers. Do I hear anybody wanting to claim Courtney for their team?
I'll go 3.
Oh,
Who's where?
I'll bid 3.
3 for Abrielle.
I'll go 4.
4 for Maddie.
I'll go 5.
5 for Courtney.
I'll go 6.
6 for Courtney. Going once.
I'll do 7.
Ooh. I heard Brody first. 7 for Courtney. Going once. Going twice. Huh?
8.
8 for Courtney.
You'll have to pay, Mama. I'm going 10.
10 for Courtney.
Oh my gosh. Doesn't he have enough? Shouldn't he be maxed out by now?
No. By the rules of the auction, he has yet to max out.
You can block him.
No.
10 on Courtney. Going once.
11.
11 for Courtney. Going once.
The urge to just fuck over.
Going twice. I'm going to call it. Congratulations. Abrielle, you have recruited Courtney for 11 seeds.
Would you have gone 15?
Huh?
I was asking Abby if she would have gone 15. Because I wanted Courtney so bad. We'll never know.
Oh, I don't know if I would have gone 15.
Would you have gone 13?
No, I would have let you die on that hill.
Damn, I almost did.
Y'all crazy for just not bidding at all.
Y'all were 26 and 27. Insane.
Yeah, I was worried about it because I know Maddie's stockpiling for someone, and I really like especially this last 4. I really do like all of them. But just look at that face that she's making in this picture. How could I not bid everything I own for this one?
Right?
I'm obsessed with her.
I know it.
Okay, Fierce. So, Abrielle, talk me through this Courtney pick. Was it just wanting to screw over Brody, or what's your confidence in her?
Look at her. I mean, look, like I already said, that last group of 4, I really liked all of them. So I wasn't really sure where I was going to go. Very obvious that Maddie is stockpiling for someone that she wants, which is one of those last 3 people. I like all those last 3 people. So, but the more I look at that picture, I mean, you just had it enlarged on the screen, and every time I looked at it, I was like, I gotta give her another one. If she asked me for a piece, I would give it to her because she's just got that face, And I think I think that's why she's gonna do well. Just look at her. How could you say no? Like,
Mhm.
how could you want to vote her out? Look at her. She is my everything. In terms of content from the episode, I know she's getting grouped in. She's that third lawyer. She's getting grouped in with that. Diva, make it work for you. Pull those boys in. Make it work for you guys, or throw them under the bus to save yourself. I don't care. Whatever you do, I'll agree with it. Like, everything about her, she's someone I would want to align with. She's someone that I would want to see go far. And I'm hoping that translates to what other people in the cast think about her. She's didn't have anything too over the top in the episode, besides being looped in with the lawyers, but she got looped in by Daniel, and maybe not everyone in the house knows yet. I feel like by the time that it gets around, the other two will have gotten more attention for it. And out of all three of them, I think she's the most capable of getting out of it. I would say the most likely to get out of it. Just the energy, that goofy picture, the aura, everything about her is giving me Diva.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, she's pretty fresh. Zach, what do you think about Courtney?
I didn't get a super strong impression of her from the episode. I think what I mainly got was that I think she's pretty smart. And something that I think is really important, especially in like what I would say is post or like all stars on Greenhouse, is early seed buildup. Which, if I'm correct, she already has 3, which makes her the figure that if people need seeds, they're going to go to her and be like, hey, could I have a seed? That it helps her build those connections early on. I do think out of the 3 lawyers, she is the least likely to catch a stray, because I think people are going to look more at Daniel and Seth out of those 3, at least in these early rounds. I think the conversation that spoke to me the most about Courtney was her conversation with Taylor near the start of the episode, which I think is really important, and I could see that becoming a thing that is strong in the game. Obviously, it was just all surface level things, as everything in the premiere is, but she does give me a lot of promise, and I'm excited to see how she does. I don't think she's going to go home early. I expect her to at least make jury, but we'll just have to wait to see. Yeah.
We'll have to see. Taylor, from your earlier conversation of thinking that you wouldn't be able to successfully save up for someone, did I gather correctly that that person was Courtney?
Yeah, she was like number 1 on my list, and I thought that's what everyone was saving their seats for. Yulata, I would trade literally anyone for her right now. But yeah, I wanted Courtney really bad. I think that she is going to grab this season by the throat. I think she is going to be someone who knows what she's doing. It's going to be very calculated. Is going to do a lot of smiling and nodding. But I think people are going to come to her as someone who offers comfort. When her and Taylor were talking, she like immediately was like, "How are you doing?" As a way to just like get someone else's thoughts first, and maybe she wasn't thinking about like that, but I thought it was a great way for her to start the conversation. I don't think she's gonna go out and whatever lawyer thing is happening here this round or soon. But I'm really sad knowing that she went for less than Seth. And that's nothing against Seth. It's that I wanted Courtney very badly, and I thought that's what people were saving seats for. So I tweaked and spent all mine.
Fierce. Maddie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I had to restrain myself. I was on the cusp of going to a war, but I love her. I do think she, as everyone's saying, she's going to be the one to outlast the lawyer narrative. Not everybody knows that she's a lawyer. Daniel let that slip to some people, but will it continue to get around? Maybe. And by the time it does, will one of the other ones have already been gone? Probably. I think it's a strong likelihood. I think I think she knows exactly what she's doing. She's playing the very sweet, almost like I'm getting like mother hen vibes a little bit, if that makes any sense. Like I think people are going to gravitate towards her. I really do. I think my only concern for her is that people are going to later in the game see the likability of her and be threatened by it and think we cannot take her to a finale. She will steamroll us. That's my only concern about her game, late term game. Otherwise, I think she's going to do fantastic. I can't wait to watch her this season.
Yes. Brody, I want to hear what you think about Courtney.
Yeah, Courtney was my number one as well. I threw seeds away early thinking Courtney would be going for like 22. And I was like, oh, I will not have that much. I'd rather get a few more people. I think Courtney has every skill in a potential winner. I think she had the social aspect, kind of how Abrielle was talking about. I love the fact that she moved to Texas to become a teacher and then was like, no, let me just go become an attorney, actually. I think that shows her adaptability whenever she's faced with a potential solution to something that was not part of her plan. Everything that Courtney did, I thought, while it wasn't necessarily the biggest character in the first episode, I think it all showed the right things. Like Courtney could talk to anyone. I think every single person there would feel comfortable. Like everyone talked about, I think of the attorneys, she will be the one to get out of it. I just think she has very few major resistances along that path outside of like the final four. And I think if she's going to be charming enough to be able to navigate that, then I think she's a shoo-in winner. Yeah, I'm bummed out that she went for as cheap as she did because I think she was worth way more.
Fierce. Does anyone else have comments on Courtney?
Just look at that face.
Love her.
I love her. Icon.
All right, Abrielle. It's up to you to choose the next contestant who's up for grabs.
Let's go, Kai.
Kai is up, and I haven't updated your seats. Kai is up for grabs. Do I hear any bids?
What
for
is this
Kai?
picture?
I'll do a seed.
I'll do 2.
2 seeds for Kai.
I'll go 3.
3 seeds.
I'll go 10.
10 seeds for Kai.
I'll go 11.
You guys would do that.
11 for Zach. Going once. Going twice.
Maddie,
12.
you could bid 12 and tie at the very least.
I'll do 13.
13 for Kai.
I'll do 14.
Oof.
14 from Abrielle.
Motherfucker.
Going once. Going twice. I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Abrielle. You have recruited Kai for 14 seeds. Talk me through it.
Again, these last couple, I really like them all. I think that Kai has shown that she is not afraid to stick up for herself in as much capacity as she can, especially in that greenhouse. I mean, there really was nothing she could do about it, about getting Sunflower, which I could tell that none of them wanted. But at least she had the guts to be vocal about not wanting it. She was like, look, I know I'm third and like, y'all can just give me whatever you don't want, but like XYZ, you know, and it kind of ended up like a 2-against-1 battle. But I know a lot of players who would have just sat there and let it happen. I mean, at least she was vocal and she wasn't scared to be vocal about it, which tells me that later on in the game, she's going to keep being vocal about why she wants certain things, why she thinks it's good for her. she's spunky. I think she has, even though she had a little pushback with those other two, I think she's got people who are definitely going to want to work with her. I think she has the potential to be a firecracker in the game. Like I'm very excited to see her play. Just everything about her, she's fierce.
She's fierce. No,
She's fierce.
I freaking love that line. Brody, can you show me what striking looks like to you?
No.
Okay.
um,
Don't volley at all. It's Brody's turn.
I think Kai started off the episode really, really strong. I thought she was making a lot of inroads with people and in the right conversations. And I think her getting in the greenhouse is actually going to kind of bite her here. I like the fact that she stood up to them in a sense, because I think if she does stay in the game, that being known that like, oh, this is just something that Kai does, I think could help her, because then she could kind of voice her opinions without much repercussion. I don't love that she didn't just voice it once and back off. Like, she kept voicing it when she had no power to keep doing anything about it. I think Stephanie talking about, I'm worried Kai's like actually coming after us now because like we fought with her about it. Like, that was concerning to me. I think Kai's going to be really fun. I think she's going to be a major factor. She gave me the most Brady vibe of like going to be a little chaotic, will be fun throughout the episodes. Probably not going to win.
Interesting. Yeah, Taylor, Kai is one of the people that we saw some tactics from in this episode. Both in the way that she pushed back in the flower picking ceremony and also in her starting to float out Aaron's name. What do you think of Kai's style?
Total diva. Her personality eats everyone's up. I just worry that these are some rookie mistakes. And like, it's just sometimes you don't realize, I think, she's being very like blunt about what's like going on in her mind, and she's emotional, and there's like nothing wrong with telling people exactly like kind of how you feel, except sometimes in these games it might push potential allies away and figure that they don't want to have to worry about stepping on your toes. Because she floated Aaron's name out for what she thought was a connection in the game, I think. And then she kind of kept pushing the name, and it might give her some sway this round because she is in power. I just think it's all going to depend on how she pushes it. I don't necessarily think that she'll be like the first few boots. I wouldn't be surprised if she's nominated early, and possibly that her downfall or her vote out is just because she's a little bit of a liability in terms of what she says to people. But she is so fun. I worry that in this cast specifically, like, she is going to have to like smile and nod a little bit more if she doesn't want it to catch up to her. You're muted, diva.
Did girl.
Okay, I follow. Maddie, you're up.
Yeah, I love her energy. I think she's going to be a really social player. I do think being vocal in the greenhouse is important. However, pushing too much can be a detriment. And I think that might be something that'll follow her. So that's my reservations with Kai is that I think the other two see her as she's mad at them right now, or is going to hold that grudge, and it's going to like put a barrier there to want to work together. And I think that's going to hinder her in these future rounds. But if she can navigate around that, chef's kiss. I think she'll be amazing. But I think it's a decent hurdle early.
Yeah, for sure. Who's left? Zach? I don't think I've called on you.
First impressions on Kai, I'm obsessed. I think she's a really fun character and player just right off the bat. She's very blunt, which I think is a good strategy in the greenhouse to an extent. I think she should have said what she wants one time, whether it be outside with everybody else or inside, and then cut it off from there. I see her becoming a big player or a big character. What I am seeing in the future for her is Shield. She gives me very big Shield energy so far, like early jury Shield. But I love her so far. I think she was a lot of fun to watch this first episode, and probably the person we saw inside their mind the most to start. I'm just worried that because I'm pretty sure she hasn't played anything before, some rookie mistakes will come back to bite her inevitably.
Yeah, I think those are good reads. I'm obsessed with Kai. It's so fierce that she's here. Okay, Abrielle, you get to choose the second to last player.
Okay. Let's go, Louis.
All right. Hi, Louis. Do I hear any bids? for
13.
Louis?
I'll tie 13.
Okay, we are tied at 13. Going once. Going twice. Okay, for the first time in Greenhouse history, the auction has ended. That's not true. Abrielle ended an auction in a tie in Greenhouse 3 against Rogue, and it sent Rogue home. See? That was a pop quiz. Everybody but me failed. So let's see.
Big money, big money.
Zach, heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Okay. Heads.
Mother- oh, that was tails to lose, right?
No.
Damn. Okay.
Congratulations, Maddie. You have recruited Louis on your team. Are you breathing a sigh of relief that you won this coin flip?
Everything is playing out exactly as I planned here. But anyway, let's talk about Louis. I'm not gonna lie, he's having a very rough start. I think he is a slow build. I really do. I think he's a little nervous, but he's gonna come into his own. I do. I feel it in my core here. Is it delusion? Maybe. I don't know. I want to root for him. I want to just like love him. And am I projecting that he's going to do better because of it? Who knows? But oh well.
Who knows? Taylor, I want to hear your take on Louis.
No, I actually really like Louis. I was like, if I don't get Courtney, I want Louis, and kind of vice versa. But the chips fell where the chips fell. I think Louis is also going to be someone that people underestimate. I think people are going to come to him. And I think he's very strategic, but I think he's going to be a little bit quieter of a strategist. And I think people will see him as kind of chill. I mean, look at the shirt, dogs and astronaut suits. Can't go wrong with that. But no, I think he's going to go pretty far in this game. I think the beginning will be a bit of a hurdle for him. But I mean, we saw Connor already coming up to him. So I think he does have a social attraction to him. So I think if he aligns himself with the right people, I think we will see him go very deep, if not win.
Mm-hmm. Fierce. Brody, I want to hear your thoughts on Louis.
Not a fan. Not a fan. I think Louis is very game bot. I think it is very clear he's probably very good at the org games, and I don't think he's played a live one yet. Is that true?
I think that is true, actually.
He seems like he would be very, very good online. I think he can mask some of the weaker parts of his game online, and I think in person some of the overwhelming aspects of having to navigate these social things, especially like Abrielle was talking about earlier, in such a small space where people are on top of each other. You're always seeing different things. I think that's really hard for these people who really know the game aspect of it. I know he kind of got thrown in late and he didn't like study as much as he wanted to. But I think he is going to overplay his hand all day long. I think people will read him and he'll probably stay around for a little while, but I don't think anyone's going to be have heartburn when he gets voted out at like 9th.
Oh,
Have you ever played an online game, Brody?
At one point, I was a Swooper legend.
No,
I'm just
you
gonna
were
say
not.
I just wanted to
He was
push back
not.
a little bit because I think that people who haven't played an online game assume that live games are much harder. I will give the hot take that that's not true. Live and online games, you can hide behind your screen and conversations aren't public. And they're a lot longer, so you'd be thinking a lot harder. I personally thought that the live game was gonna be harder was when I played, and I won my first live game. So I think like we shouldn't undercut just because of the online perspective. I mean, I think he could play too hard because he was an order, and that is true, because everything will be seen. But I wouldn't say that someone who plays online games is gonna not be able to like be up to par in a live game.
And that's fair. I guess I was more saying what you said with the just overplaying it. I just think the orgs and LRGs are just very different. I don't think one's more
for
difficult
sure.
than the other. I think it is a totally different game. And I think like when you go to these long form TV shows, I think it's kind of a hybrid of the two, to where I think they're just different. I don't think one's harder than the other, but I do hear what you're saying.
Yeah, as someone that strictly only played LRGs to recently playing an org for the first time, the long haul aspect of the game, very exhausting. They're different beast, truly. Yeah. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that.
fierce. Zach, what are your 2 cents?
I'm very heartbroken I didn't get Louis. Going into this season, Louis is my winner pick. I don't know what it is about him. He screams winner energy to me. But I think talking edit wise for a second, I think he had like a striking winner edit from the get-go. Like there was a segment in the middle of the episode dedicated to him talking about himself and straight up saying, I'm going to win. I'm going to be the best greenhouse player of all time, which can come off as cocky, but I think that it's in the episode for a reason. I think, God forbid, somebody makes some sort of game alliance of people that have played games. I don't know who would do that. I think that he would come out on top of that. I think he strikes me as somebody who is always going to be in conversations, but is never going to be the center of conversations. Just viewing how he participated in conversations this first episode, he was always there and he was listening and he was only providing the minimum amount of input needed to not be noticeable how little input he gave. And I think that's a very important trait to have in live games. I don't have the same concern that he has aspects lacking from him that he just was able to hide in online games. I don't know how he's done in online games in the past. But I do think, even though they're different beasts, it does, in a sense, prepare you for live games, as long as you're able to make that jump in terms of social game and managing paranoia, because they're very different beasts. But I'm very confident in Louis as a player, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I don't think he's always going to be the most exciting player, but I think he's going to be relatively consistent. Or maybe he'll be messy, but either way, I think we're going to be seeing Louis for at least a while this season.
Fierce. Abby, I bring it to you.
First of all, Brody calling someone game body, crazy. Crazy read. I think Louis is giving absolute chameleon, like ready to go, ready to blend in, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Everything that Louis showed me that he's capable of coming out on top. Maddie brought up like the longevity of live games. Totally different beast, yes, but also melds together very, very well. Louis just seems like cool, calm, and collected, ready to go, ready to play, ready to do what he has to do, ready to talk to the people that he has to talk to. I think he seems like he would have really good insight, especially as someone who has played orgs, you don't always get to be face to face to someone. So you have to be really good at getting a read off of someone very quickly. You have to be able to infer a lot of things based on what someone says to you. And I think that if he has that background and if he's as experienced as he's giving off, I think he's going to do really, really well. My only concern is that he gets sort of a Ross energy in the end game that people would be scared of to take him to the end. But I think what Zach said, he was giving the minimum amount of input to not be suspicious and to still gain traction with people. I think that's going to work in his favor. If people think he's quiet, or if people think he's on the quieter side, they're not going to be as scared of him in a finale situation or as scared to bring him to a finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I follow all of that. I think a lot of what I talked about earlier of just making sure you're not the person who symbolizes a certain skill in the game as being the most strategic or the most social or that kind of thing. I think despite his confessional, if you see the way that he's acting in all these different conversations and the way that he just generally carries himself, I don't think that he is as visibly a game bot as I think other people are being, like a Brody.
He's blending in really well. I mean, he's definitely got the foundation in each important category of the game. And I really wish I hadn't run out of money.
Yeah. I think Louis is this season's Meredith. I think he has all the skills of Meredith. It seems like he could definitely adapt to that and weave in and out. I mean, I definitely hear what everyone's saying. I didn't get it from the first episode, but I can see it based on the arguments. But I think Meredith is the perfect comparison for him because I think he has all the knowledge there. He has the social aspect enough to where he can navigate it without ever being, like Taylor said, the social person.
Yeah,
I see that for sure.
Yeah, I see that too.
Mhm.
Any other comments on Louis before we keep trucking?
Yeah,
All right.
I think he could win the game. I really do.
Yeah.
I feel like you did put that. You could have put any clip of his little home confessional in there, and you put the one about winning. Just like for mine, you put my goal is to overcome my runner-up. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
Yeah, but Taylor knows that Zach makes the edgic, so maybe it's a trick.
Watching the edit was part of why I chose Daniel too, because the very first clip, even though it's not very noteworthy of the entire season, is of Daniel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm probably just reading into it.
No, it's funny to hear people comment on the decisions I'm making in the editing booth. I don't know. I won't comment. Okay, viewers. So it is time for some mega shade. Potentially.
1 seed.
4.
Okay, 4 for Trinity.
All right, let's get it over with. I'll do my 13.
14. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, 14 for Maddie. Congratulations, Maddie. You have recruited Trinity onto your team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? No, I do want to comment on the edit one more time.
That's crazy.
First off, I don't think anybody realizes how long it takes me.
How many hours of footage were there?
I actually don't know. I don't remember. But I'm doing Greenhouse 8 right now, and round 1 alone was 11 hours. And on top of that, now that we have mics, I have to audio sync everything and then cut it down and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I do make decisions in the editing booth, though I would like to say that sometimes I am limited by the content that
Dylan's next comment just shades you equally as much.
Compared to other
Get
seasons.
off my neck.
It's crazy.
Oh my
someone who
God,
watches live streams
you've
that
improved
worry
so
about the
much.
edit.
The show's almost unrecognizable. But anyway, so yes, yes, I do like make decisions and like trying to cut things down or like, okay, I want to highlight this relationship that has this conversation that develops the same thing as this other conversation. Like I do make those kinds of decisions, but like for the intro confessionals, especially, like some people send me 10 minutes, some people send me 30 seconds, so I don't know. It's interesting. And I will say we do need to fire Brady as a.
Oh, that was
I will say
that
that.
was
I've heard
It was
Dylan
rough.
say this like 4 times in the last 24 hours.
No, I know. I don't even know if Brady was the one holding that camera, though I think it was.
I was imagining you editing the episode and like holding your finger over the block button on Brady.
Mm-hmm. No, I've done it before. Now, I used to be kind of evil with it. Like I would text people and I would be like, hey, look, next time I need you to use a tripod.
I was gonna make a joke. Just get tripods.
Yeah. But anyway, I've chilled out a lot more. But anyway, Maddie, you have recruited your third player, Trinity. Is this the person you were saving up for all night?
100%. And this draft worked out exactly as I planned. I mean, there's a few people I would have liked, but ultimately, the 2 people I feel the most confident in are on my team. And so I'm happy about that. And one of those people being Trinity. I can't quantify it. but I don't know. I love the social energy she's bringing right now. She's got the rose, which I think is a fantastic first greenhouse flower to get. Yes, tulip is the one that's going to get the least blood on your hands. However, if you're rose and you can pull off getting your target out, the blood is very minimal, and you've just built a whole lot of social connections with everybody else in the cast, because ultimately being in power does lend you getting all the social connections. So I think if she can get out whoever she puts up in this next episode, I think it's a net good here going forward. I think she has fantastic winner potential. I think she is going to be an underdog. I think people aren't going to see her as a threat for a while in this game, if not ever. No, people might not see her as being threatening and take her to the end, and she steamrolls them. Like I have so much confidence in Trinity in this one episode. But yeah.
Fierce. Zach, let's kick it to you. I want to hear your thoughts on Trinity.
I'll start with the good. I think that she has a very promising first episode. I think the rose is top 2 out of 3 best flowers you can get in the greenhouse. I personally think I would go for a rose over a sunflower, even though the sunflower can do the stereotypical, oh, you get a seed from it. Shut up. But my worry is who she's looking at so far. The one thing that, like, if I had to give one word for each person this first episode, I would give indecisive for Trinity, just because I don't think she knows what she wants to do with it. And normally when you don't know what you want to do, my advice is to shut up until you do. But she is already suggesting JP. And like, she doesn't know if she actually wants to do that. And we know that for sure because she said it in her confessional. But she's given this as ammo to 2 other people in the game already, who one of them I can see is likely going to be a yapper. And I don't know what she's going to do at the end of the day. I think if any potential first nominees have the chance of getting uproot, my bet would be on JP. I think JP is going, because I don't think I actually got to speak on JP. I'm worried for him at first, but I also think that he is going to be the best out of any potential round 1 nominee to build social bonds and get seeds. I think in her doing that, she is going to nominate somebody that won't go home. I don't see them going home. And then if she doesn't do that, she has now given 2 other people ammunition to use at their own expense for the remainder of the early game. Something I thought of and said when I was doing Edgic stuff is that she gives the vibes of a supporting player who got thrown into the greenhouse as a central role. I think after she's out of the greenhouse, she's going to fall into a little bit more of an obscure role. I don't see her leading the charge on anything, which could be a good thing in her benefit. But the thing with being sort of on the wayside is that you have to have intent with everything you do. And I'm not sure that she's going to be able to make those quick decisions throughout the game. But at the same time, I do think she's in the top half of contenders I have so far. But part of that may be just because we saw so much of her in this first episode.
Mm-hmm. I follow it. Let's kick it to Taylor. You're muted, Diva.
Just changed AirPods. I like Trinity. I think that she is going to be someone that infiltrates her way through pretty easily. She just has a bubbly personality that I think is going to work to her favor. Like Zach was touching on, I think the intent is there. I think her gears are turning. I think the hardest part is going to be her actually executing it. Just because, I mean, her throwing out JP's name is smart. The strategy is there. She's like, look, and get 2 seeds round 1. It's just, I don't know if she should be saying those things this early because it might just come back to her because it's so early and there's a lot of people who can like spread that information around really quick. I like that she was working with Stephanie. I think Stephanie is a good person for her to work with. But yeah, I think that if she can have a successful greenhouse run, I think that she will go far. Again, I think it just depends how these groups shake out, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Abby, any other thoughts on Trinity as a fellow actor?
Oh, girl, that was bad. That was bad. Girl, don't say that. Don't say that out loud. That's an inside thought. That's like an in your head thought. Don't say that out loud. With this particular lineup, will they weaponize that and use that against her? Maybe, probably at some point. I think that it's less likely now that she is an early greenhouse person. I think that if she has, a bit of a quieter personality and would have easily fallen a little bit into the background, I think this is going to set her up to counteract that potentially if she can work it well. I think Stephanie is a good lineup for her, or a good ally for her to keep. I think what would be real juicy is if Kai takes that and pairs them as a duo and lets everybody watch and puts a target on them. Is she that conniving? We'll see. Because they definitely kind of like it was a 2 against 1 battle in that greenhouse. I don't think that's particularly going to come back to bite her. I think she has a good setup, an opportunity for a good setup if she doesn't take the initiative to set something up for herself. She definitely gives me the impression of someone who's going to fall into a power alliance, whether it's like just a steamroll alliance, whether it's the good side of a split house. She's giving me the impression that she'll probably end up on the right side of things, but that indecisiveness does worry me. You have to be able to adapt really quickly in this kind of game, and that indecisiveness can hold you back a lot. So if she can get over that, I can see her doing really well.
For sure. And lastly, Brody, I want to hear your thoughts on Trinity.
Yeah, Trinity coming into the episode was one of my favorites. I think she kind of sank into like a middle ground player for me throughout the episode. And I don't really have a good reason why. I think she has a lot of the skills to do really, really well. My only concern is I think to be a winner of Greenhouse, you really have to care about the game. Like to almost like an extreme degree. Like I think outside of Clay as a winner up to this point, like all the winners like truly cared about winning. And I just don't know if Trinity has that like true desire of like this is gonna be like I'm going to give it everything I have for these 2.5 days. And I think this cast has a lot of people on it who are like, this is my whole goal. Like I'm going to give every ounce of my being to winning this game. And I could just see Trinity not feeling like she needs to do that and just kind of rolling over at some point because the people around her are fighting so hard. But outside of that, I think she has the skills for it. I think her acting is going to come into play. I think she was clearly thinking strategically during these conversations, was aware of some of the social cues and things going on in the game. I just don't think she cares about the game quite as strong as some of these other people.
She seems a little bit more passive than some of the big personalities we got, at least in their confessionals. I say big personalities, but some of them big in confessionals.
Yeah. Something else I want to say, because I realize when I was talking about her, it was mainly towards the negative. I do think she has a really, really important aspect to her personality that is good in Greenhouse, in that she is able to talk and able to be out there as a person. People like that are naturally much more likely to have people come to them asking for alliances. Yeah. From experience, somebody that is less vocal and kind of sits back, it's a lot more difficult when people forget that you're there. I don't think people are going to forget that Trinity is there. I think she's always going to be somebody that is seen and mentioned. Whether that is to her positive or to her negative is up to her. But I think that I definitely see her getting into alliances early on because people see her. They see her intents and her actions purely based on how she treats the first Greenhouse. So they know what they're working with if they choose to work with her.
Mm-hmm. I follow. Okay, perfect. Any other comments on Trinity before we wrap this up? Okay, fierce. So we have our teams. First up, Abrielle with Connor, Kai, and Courtney. Abrielle, what's the name of your team? How do you feel?
Oh, what's the name of my team? I wasn't prepared. The grandchildren.
The grandchildren.
The grandchildren.
Yes.
They are the grandchildren, and they need to make Grandmama proud, or they're not getting any presents at Christmas.
Fierce.
I think these are some divas. These are some diva lineups. They have some bold, spicy parts. They've got good heads on their shoulders. I'm excited.
Fierce. I agree. Zach, you're the person with the smallest team, but is it the mightiest?
I don't think I have players that are going to be very loud and out there. I think I lean towards people that are a lot quieter, and maybe that's a good thing. If I had to give a team name, it would be Team Please Don't Let Me Down, You're All I Have. I'm hoping to see good things from both of these people. Neither of them scream. Neither of them scream going home early. I'm sad I'm only left with 2 people, but I'm happy that it's these 2.
Fierce. All right, Brody, any comments on your team? Stephanie, JP, and Taylor?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my team. I think they all have winner potential. I think there's a good chance they might be out early as well, but I kind of went like all or nothing in this draft. My team name, I'm going to go with the Butterflies. I think this is a very social group. I think they're going to interact with a lot of people, get a lot of information, and I think it just comes down to how they use that information to see if they can win.
Fierce. Next up, Taylor's team, Dylan, Seth, and Cody.
We love white men. That is my team name. Well, yep, no take backs now. Just leave it. I think, I really do like my team. I think that I have a good mix of kind of like social, strategic, and Dylan. And I think that they're all going to give me something very different. I think even I have maybe underestimated them a little bit. And so I think while we love the people who come in with like such a force, I think it's important to remember that it's kind of rare that those people make it to the end. Because they're going to be seen first. So I think that's going to let my players kind of sneak their way to the end. So yeah, I'm excited. And are we doing the thing where we have to pick like the winner of our three?
I'm gonna do. That's my last question.
Okay, so I'm excited for my team. We
Great.
love my
And last,
That's so funny.
and last, Maddie. Any last comments on your team?
I feel very confident in my people. I've got the two people that I came in making sure I wanted to get. My team name, let's see. You know what? I think this is Team Underdog. I do think there is a lot of underdog potential in these three, and I think they're going to get overlooked because of it. Yeah.
Fierce. So those are our 5 teams for the Greenhouse Season 7 draft. So now I'm going to go rapid fire through each team. I want everyone to quickly say who they think is their winner pick on each team. Okay? Fierce. So first, the grandchildren.
Courtney.
Oh, sorry. I wanted the other people to go, but you're fine.
Oh,
I thought, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's commenting on other people's teams too.
Oh, okay.
Courtney.
Yeah, Courtney, probably out of this team.
oh, we'll go Connor.
Fierce. All right, next up, please don't let me down. You're all I have.
Daniel.
Daniel.
I'm going Mackenzie.
Fierce. Next up, Team the Butterflies.
JP.
Taylor.
Taylor.
Stephanie.
Oh. The We Love White Men group.
Social strategy and Dylan.
Dylan.
Born to say Courtney, forced to say Dylan.
Fierce. And lastly, from Team Underdog.
Louis.
Louis.
Fierce.
Really?
And across the board, who do we see going home first? Anybody want to call the shot?
It's Cody.
No, it's not.
Aaron or Seth?
Yeah, I'm kind of
No, Seth either. You guys can't just pick my team to go home first.
All 3 of Taylor's team members. Surprise.
It's
Courtney.
elimination.
Please.
I don't want it to be JP or Aaron, but I could see one of those two going home first. But I should have paid attention to the episode till next week. Maybe.
Fierce. So here we are at the end of the draft. We have a phenomenal season of the Greenhouse ahead of us. Any final comments for the night?
Thank God we didn't have 18 players.
Right?
18 people at the Austin location. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
They're in charge of filming themselves.
Yeah.
Get your iPhones out.
Right?
Your iPhone's out. But anyway, thank all of you for doing this with me. Thank everybody who has watched up till this point. 2 hours and 43 minutes is crazy.
Shout out to chat. Shout out to
Yeah.
chat.
It's just Dylan.
No,
But-
Dylan's there too.
I'm kidding. I love Valencia.
Valencia, my diva. My icon.
Dylan,
Get out of here.
Dylan thought this was fun to watch, so hopefully he learned something for his streams.
Boom, 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 boom.
All 3 of us. Okay, girl, you
Making
got me.
strays.
But anyway, Y'all have a good night. Thank you so much.